Namaste, I'm Prakriti Kandel from Department of Biotechnology. The title of my story is Kaleidoscopic Dreams. I again had a kaleidoscopic dream the night before everything fell apart. For the last time, the dream affirmatively haunted me. It must have been the umpteenth time that the dream had recurred to me. I still can't remember the inception of this dream, but it takes me back to the day when she was born. It makes me realize that the dream that I had dreamt was not a dream for me, but for the tiny life growing inside me, which eventually binds me to that dream. I had started dreaming that dream since the day when our heartbeats were one, since the day when I pronounced her as me, since the day when she crawled inside me and gave me tickle. Since the day when she desperately wanted to come into this world and I had wanted her to remain as a part of me. In my recurring dream, it was always me who was holding the kaleidoscope. Then she would come running, hopping, jumping and screaming inside the kaleidoscope. Her face was blurring, but I always knew that she would be my daughter after 10 years. She always struggled to get hold of the shifting patterns produced by my kaleidoscope. She climbed up the stairs, which had no railing. Sometimes the stairs didn't even have steps. However, she would manage to get to the top of the stairs. When she got hold of one of the patterns, it would turn into a glass. And I used to cry out loud, "Careful, they have become glasses." And she would reply back, "They are so attractive." When she got hold of one of those colorful patterns, she would come out of it and both of us would take a seat in the heap of glassy patterns. Our faces were reflected in the colorful glasses. She looked colorful, I looked colorful. She would start sewing them together, one by one, bit by bit. She would sew them with a charming needle and a charming thread, and at the end, I would do the finishing by reciting some spells. I never saw us till the end, only the soon kaleidoscopic pattern would exist. Both of us vanished. First she did, then I followed her way out. The kaleidoscopic pattern would persist till I was wide awake. When I again had the kaleidoscopic dream the night before everything fell apart, I didn't know that it would be the last time I would ever dream that dream. She looked fine. Her face was no more a blur. She was my 10-year-old daughter. Long black waves of her hair covered the upper half of her body. Her large brown eyes resembled mine. Her skin, fair enough to reflect all the scars in her face she got from injuries during her childhood. Her crooked teeth gave a sense of warmth when she giggled. Everything else in the dream was all the same as before. Sadly, it was the last time I ever saw that dream. Because the other night the pure giggles of my daughter was snatched away by a stranger whom she didn't even know, whom I didn't even know. She must have been crying for help. She must have had sore throat from crying. She must have had cramps on her arms and limbs before she was no more a maiden. She must have had bruises. She must have had... And all that time I was dreaming a dream. Not the recurring one, a new one, a nasty one. There was no kaleidoscope in my hands. My hands were empty. My 10-year-old daughter was no more happily running and hopping and jumping and screaming. She was somberly crying, but I didn't know from where all the glassy kaleidoscopic patterns produced by us had developed till the night before things fell apart by sewing them with charms and spells stood still, all of them, each one of them, in different shape and size and colors. No, I was wrong. They were not standing still. They were about to crumble down. One by one, bit by bit. The kaleidoscopic pattern started falling apart as our lives fell apart. The colors started fading away. At the end, all that remained was the broken pieces of glasses, dull and melancholy. Ever since, I've not dreamt that kaleidoscopic dream. It has now turned into a grave dream. I stand for hours, sometimes days or even weeks, staring at the broken pieces of glasses. I search her smile in it. I search a dream in it. All it reflects back is my rough skin etched with gloom, and rage and regret and unfathomable suffering. Thank you.